Right golfers, I've got a striking drill, a club face control drill here that will change the way you practice, the way you strike, and it will give you complete feel and control over the club face to allow you to hit these straighter shots. It's so simple. You're going to need a medium iron. I've also got a putter which will show you why in a second. This drill's changing everything. Let me show you. If you like the information in this lesson, hit that like button down there. Certainly helps the channel. Also, I have a link to my free weekly exclusive golf tips newsletter down there as well. Come and join the learning community. Now, for me to hit straight shots, I've got to deliver the club face in a way that points in line with where I want that ball to start. I also need to swing the club on hopefully a relatively straight path. We don't want too much of this and we don't want too much of this. So we need to be able to control the face and we need to be able to control the path. Hopefully lots of you understand and know that. Now what happens when people swing the club around their body is they twist the face about through angles in their wrist and rolling arms, and the club can go on some funny path. We've all seen you doing it. Now there's always exceptions, but in the most part, when you watch good players, tall players on telly and what have you, they're swinging on kind of very sensible paths that make sense in your head, and they're kind of getting their club face into position so you think, well, my face is like this, why is theirs like this? And at the top, my face is like here, theirs is there. So theirs is kind of making sense in your head. And the reason it often does, and they look textbook, and again there are exceptions because matchups are a real thing, but the reason you see so many do that is because they're literally trying to control the sweet spot as it swings around their body. So the sweet spot of the club, the center of gravity of the head, if you like. So they've got a head with a sweet spot that they're trying to hit the ball with, and there's weight either side, and they don't want all that twisting around because they're just trying to constantly line that up with the target. Similar to what you're trying to do with a hammer. So a hammer, where you have a sweet spot on a hammer, which you're probably trying to line up with the nail you're hammering in, but you're not doing all these twists as you move it. You're moving it in a relatively sensible plane and without all the twists, because you're not hitting it with this bit. If you're hitting it with this bit, you would probably feel like you want to go around this way and give it a wallop, and more things would go wrong. Hitting it with this bit, not much weight either side, like it has to be on the money. So to help you get rid of your twists and turns and your kind of funky movements with the club, what I want you to do is simply turn the club in setup so it's 90 degrees with the face. Now the face is pointing at me and the toe end is now pointing at the target. And guess what? There'll be a sweet spot of this end as well. It won't be very sweet because obviously the loft isn't designed to be hit this way, but if golf changed and you had to do it with this bit, yep, there'll be a center that feels better. And if they put the right loft on it, there would be a center this way as well as this way. Obviously this way, it's going to be tiny. It's almost the bit you got to hit with. Now by having the club set up in this angle, if you start putting twists and turns into your backswing, funny directions with the path, try and hit across the ball, it's going to feel crazy. So what happens when you get golfers holding the club this way, you get them to make a few kind of little half swings back and forwards, telling them that we're going to hit some shots in a minute, so I'm going to do this over the ball, trying to line it up, is they just naturally start calming all the movements down. They don't have big rotation. So let's put this face into some reference. If I take it back to first parallel, obviously it's hard to see where that's pointing. Remember, we've moved it 90 degrees, so the face angle would be there. Now, if you're someone who gets the face turning a bit up to the sky early at these points, which lots of you do, and you struggle with flipping forward, adding loft, horrible facts and fins, think about this. If I take the club back and turn it 90 degrees now to this face, yeah, is up in the sky here. So you can just got to see, and it's slightly abstract, 90 degrees off wherever this face is, and you can relate it back to a normal gripped swing. So we're trying to get the face to be maybe a little bit more turned down, which means when you give them the club this way, guess what? They do. They naturally do that. They don't want to start adding loads of angles in. Same thing happens if you're someone who kind of rolls. Like if I roll, trying to then line this up. I mean, let me try and hit one that with a roll in there. Yep, missed that. Let's go this way this time, so we're going to give it this angle. Yeah. Like it's so hard. Because even if I try and swing straight and control the face, it's still super hard, so it's shooting off, but contact is made. Bit straighter again, bit more of the rounded. You got to remember this is rounded, so I am hitting it, I'm just hitting the outside of it. So the strike on the last two is kind of like one was like there and one was like there. It's minuscule difference, but when I went with twists and the club wasn't going very straight at all, guess what happened? I missed. My strike moved probably out to this side and into this side. It's a great way of feeling path. It's a great way of feeling face, because again, what happens is people tend to just calm them down into more sensible paths. And when you're doing this, you know, really feel what's different. Oh, it feels more connected in my arms, or less wristy, or whatever it feels to you. You've got to latch onto them, because you're going to find that if you want to hit this ball, you're going to make relatively sensible actions. Oh, not bad. I'll take it. Anything being hit with the end of a club this thin is good. Now the next thing that it allows you to do is thinking about the downswing. You want to feel like you're trying to get this toe end of this club in position to hit the ball early. Again, remember what we see from amateurs is they tend to have the face a lot this way down as they're coming in to hit the ball, and then that's why we see the big flips to try and catch everything up. But trying to get the end of the hammer, if you like, pointing down at the ground and at the ball early is what's giving people these much better visuals of impact. You see where it looks like I'm kind of like, ooh, shaft leaning, rather than adding loft. And again, just reference that. I'm going to go here. So toe end of the club's pointing down, 90 degrees to that is there. Yeah, that's such a good, strong impact position for perfect strikes. Now, the end of your club's a bit demoralising, as you can see. So depending on what putter you have, I've got, you know, this classic style Cleveland putter here. This end is flatter and a little easier to hit the ball with. So you can take your normal grip, and with this you can do a few practice swings. So I'm going to go 3/4 more with this. You're going to feel, it's very hard to explain how it feels. You need to pick your putters up and your clubs at this angle to feel it. You'll really start feeling twists and turns, because you know you've only got a very tiny bit of sweet spot to hit. So again, it's going to feel really odd to go out here and in here. It'll feel really odd to twist and take loft off, because at the end of the day, you're removing loft. You're just trying to hit it with a pinpoint edge. Now, with the end of the putter, you've got a little bit more chance of actually hitting some straight out there. Like, that's a 40 yard, 50 yard straightish shot with the end of my club. Again, if I do that, and I go and put rolls in, so let's add some roll in here. Oh, let's go out to in now. Oh, like, it's so much harder. Placing an iron or a club putter is really good for this. At this angle and swinging, you'll start to really feel what controlling direction of the club is, controlling face angle. Remember, it's at 90 degrees wherever it ends up to here, so just turn it 90 degrees and that's where you would be. Where if I'm rolling, 90 degrees of that is there. We don't want that, and lots of you are doing that and then having to recover that, and those recoveries often look a bit like this. It's such a good way of you practicing at home in the garden, trying to understand face as well as loft and as well as path. Honestly, it's crazy good. Like, that's dead straight. Get on. Oh, it's almost a line ball. You do this with people to put twists and turns in, it's so hard, and they start really beginning to self-work it out. Self-working it out, self-feeling with tools like this is so good for the learning process. Now, if you want to learn how to strike and control loft a bit more, loads of people are getting a lot of help from this video here.